Thank you, everyone. It's always a challenge to speak after Mr. Richard D'Souza speaks, and he was a great speaker for Qlik from the past. I think, first of all, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity for us to present today at this beautiful morning in Kopoli. I would like to talk about 4 fundamental ways data is changing the face of manufacturing. I think first thing I would like to highlight is a fundamental question that comes to my mind when I'm speaking to a lot of people in this room and in manufacturing industry per se. How can data, or how can you transform data into business results? I know for a fact that people in this room have spent lifetime of work in getting in the best solutions for their organization, to bringing in data fluency and changing the culture. But still this question especially comes to the top when saying, how can we drive results? We have the best tools. We have the automations that's required for processes and to make it more efficient. But how do we drive results? To answer this, I would like to touch upon a few things today. And in the due course of my presentation, I would try and answer this question to you. So first, let's look at what data is saying in manufacturing. Now, data is undeniably everywhere. It's flowing in from all channels through you into the CIO's office. And when IDG did a survey last year with all the manufacturing organizations across the globe to understand their top priorities when it comes to digital business strategy, 64% expected, everybody expected big results. In that, 64% expected that they wanted to automate their process using data or digital analytics. 58% wanted better customer satisfaction or better customer experience. 50% wanted better employee productivity. And 43% wanted to drive business through digital transformation or digital strategies. Now, each of this can be possible, and it can be done faster using data. Second, I would like to talk about how data is impacting manufacturing segment. Now, every company, you've heard this before, every company is a software company. Every company today is a data company too. Now, with the raw materials costs going high and the traditional methods of increasing productivity being exhausted, we as manufacturers looking back into our data to see what other ways can we drive results. Now, according to IDC, by 2020, 1/3 of supply chain manufacturing would be completely using analytics and advanced analytics capabilities, which will probably increase 10% of the cost efficiency. And by 2020, 60% of manufacturers will rely on digital platforms that will support as much as 30% of their revenue growth. That's a large number. So high uncertainty and low growth is forcing manufacturers to squeeze every asset to its maximum and look into their data again. While I answer the question which I raised in the beginning, which I brought up in the beginning, I would like to talk about 3 trends that are happening in the industry. First is the connected customer. Customer is truly the king in the age of information. He has access to enormous amount of information. He has a lot of options. So when he's going to buy or is making a decision, he's well informed of what he's doing, which brings us as manufacturers to a focus of understanding customer buying sentiments, buying patterns, and also keeping our inventory ready for it. Industry 4.0 is the second big trend, or 4th industrial revolution, which is happening. In Industry 4.0, I think in manufacturing per se, with integrated smart factories and complex production requirements, and we have large scale of investments, capital investments in these equipments, I think the most important areas of focus would be making sure that our equipments are working, functioning, or the maintenance is right, and basically coming down to equipment efficiency. Our dealer-supplier collaboration and partnership is good. There's a good collaboration. There's traceability in that. Sensor data analytics, which I would talk about in my some of my few slides. And the third one would be agile supply chain. With a global supply chain network, constantly innovation in products and having lots of logistics providers, and as well as multi-channel sales that are happening across, we need to be demand driven, and we need to go after aftermarket opportunities. And also, I think one more key thing is keeping the inventory always ready. So from these business trends, I would probably, or we at Qlik have characterized or categorized it into 4 outcomes that we're looking at. Customer intelligence, reimagine processes, new business opportunities, and balancing risk versus reward. I would touch upon each of these categories to answer the question, the universal question I have laid out at the beginning of my presentation. Customer intelligence. Let me take a quick example of one of our prestigious customers. Either it could be Bajaj or Maruti. How do we get, or why is 360-degree view of a customer so important? When people walk into the store, it's in a typical B2C, we need to understand how many people walked into the store, how many people took a test drive, how many people asked for a quote, how many people bought the product or the car at the end of the day, or it could be anything, any kind of product. Now, this information also with a slice and dice of how my promos are doing in certain regions, how my sales are doing when there are no promos, where did I lose my customer, and how many of these customer journeys are stuck in test drive, have moved to quote, from quote have moved to sales. So all of this slice and dice of data should be readily available, agile, on demand for your sales team, for the sales to happen faster. So universally, we are targeting lesser buying cycle and a better customer experience. And also, we are making sure that our inventory is ready to supply the demand that's coming in from the customer. So tying it back to to customer intelligence category, it's deliver an omnichannel experience. You have good slice and dice in data, you can achieve that. Discover deeper customer insights, understanding buyers' sentiments, their patterns, increase conversion. Reducing your buying cycle would tie down to that. Reimagining processes, I think I would like to cite few examples in ScreenGP, which is one of the leading manufacturing suppliers in Japan, and also BMW. First with ScreenGP. ScreenGP is a supplier of manufacturing equipment which makes PCB boards. Now, what was the challenge at ScreenGP is that the customers needed to identify any defect in the equipment much before it's a reactive approach. So predictive maintenance is what we are targeting. So Qlik came up with a solution called Trusted Network Service, where it would pick up log data, M2M data from equipments back into Qlik, analyze it, and send these analysis reports to their customers, giving them an understanding of what equipment is going to be at fault. So we are going proactive in terms of, okay, at this line, at this production line, this equipment is going at fault and I need to maintain this. What this did at ScreenGP was, it gave them faster turnaround time, it gave them better equipment stability and maintenance and efficient equipments, and overall customer experience was shot out of the roof. So that was one example when it comes to predictive maintenance. Another one would also be, considering large number and predictive maintenance, is BMW Paint Shop. Now at BMW Paint Shop, we had sensor analytics. There were 11 sensors at each robotic arm, and there were 12 robots at each paint line. So around 2,000 measurements coming into Qlik, and overall of 6.5 million data points coming into Qlik to process. So at this large scale of processing, I know a lot of people who we interacted yesterday had this question of how large can you process data? So this is one of the examples that I could cite. And we could go more than this, 6.5 million data points coming into Qlik to analyze and to see if there's any deflect in the base color of the car through any of the sensors, which would go to the microgranularity level of the sensor. So that's a big check mark in quality. which I would tie back to reimagine process, strengthen supplier performance, maximize throughput and efficiency of machines, optimize warehouse operation, increase efficiency in business processes. Moving on is new business opportunities. I would like to cite examples of Godrej Consumer Products and Lupin here. At Godrej Consumer Products, the challenge was there was a lot of duplicacy in reporting. Agile, easier on-demand reporting was not available. And when they had to make crucial decisions, the reporting took a lengthy process of time. So what Qlik did first is establish a self-service reporting model, which gave them a unified view of how sales are doing, primary, secondary sales, and how the distribution channels are working, how field productivity is doing, field force productivity, and also a demographic profiling of each geos or businesses across geos and how they are performing in these geos. They give them a slice and dice of data. Similar thing with Lupin. When Lupin started off, the challenge was when they acquired and they had so many subsidiaries, it had legacy SAP ERP systems working in silos in these subsidiaries, and Lupin itself had a legacy BI which it used to operate on. So one primary challenge is to get a unified single source of truth at the corporate office to understand what these subsidiaries are doing or how are they managing their data and what's the view that I am getting. Is it accurate for Lupin to understand that this data is true? So that single source of truth was required. So and also another challenge was when they wanted to look at traditional 5-year-old data and they had to work on it with ad hoc queries. The challenge would come in when they would run a query on a certain data extracted for 5 years, and then there were ad hoc queries that would land on. They had to redo the whole process of extracting 5 years data and add these additional queries, which Qlik transformed after it went in. It gave them the self-service reporting, agile reporting, which again went into lots of slice and dice and data. I'm sure everybody is aware of this when they look into when they use BIs today and BIs like Qlik. So I feel that when there's an ease to the access of information or ease to the accurate access to information, it's directly proportional to innovation. When you have these reports that slice and dice data for you at your fingertips and you don't have to rely on someone to do it as a business user or decision maker, it gives you that ease which automatically lets you innovate and venture into new business areas where you wouldn't have thought about or you wouldn't have had the insight earlier. Tying back to evaluate market potential and market share, develop innovative products that appeal to customers. Balancing risk and reward. Quick one example would be AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca had this drug called Zercool. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, please excuse me. Zercool was a psychotic drug for schizophrenia and bipolar mania, but it was accused that it was illegally promoted for depression, anxiety, and sleeplessness. Even though AstraZeneca denied these allegations, they ended up paying a hefty fine of $520 million in 2015. Now, what was the challenge of AstraZeneca? It was operating business in not only, so it had to manage corruption, bribery, and any kind of risks that would come in not only like a versatile environment, but also like an autonomous market. So it was constantly changing and it was running on its own. And it had to manage these factors, these risk factors of bribery, corruption, and fraud, and all of that. So what Qlik did was it got into a solution where it visualized businesses across countries and shows the characteristics and risk analysis, also analyzed outliers and pattern recognition across customers, employees, medical practitioners, and gave them gave AstraZeneca a visualization or advanced analytic view of what could be the potential risk or what are these risks happening in these markets, which narrowed down the focus for the compliant officers at the right time, they get the report saying, okay, these are the risks that could be run in this region. This is from the historical data that we are seeing, and this is what's happening as of now. And through our outliers and pattern recognition, they achieve that status. So tying back to what we're speaking here, stay compliant, prepare for the future, handle demand volatility, and manage costs. So where do we stand? Again, to my initial question, when IDG did a survey last year of how much is each organization invested in digital transformation, 50% enterprises already have data analytics. I'm sure there are more than 50% here in mobile technology and private clouds. 50% of enterprises are researching or piloting AI, machine learning, and IoT for the use of next year. 19% enterprises have fully implemented a workforce strategy. So what's the crux of the issue? What we understand at Qlik, or when we also back it up with a Gartner survey with CIOs, is the second most important issue is data literacy. Does your organization, or is your organization data literate? Do your business users actually know the use of the data or the use of analytics of what it's intending to do in a larger picture? Followed by, obviously, second is data. First would be the culture to accept change. So in today's world, CIO's challenge is to bring in a culture of data fluency and also let business users understand the data and pave their way into reinvention. So in your digital transformation journey today, if you would like to reap the results of any of these data-driven digital transformation that I spoke about, or data literacy, you want to understand about data literacy, or you want to try advanced analytics in any of your new business areas, we are here to help you. Please come and meet us. We're here till the afternoon. And I would like to leave the note on when data leads, transformation follows. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Arjun